Please call this meeting of the City Council, City of Laramie, Wyoming for July 6, 2021 to order. And I would ask everyone to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance if they would like to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Appreciate everybody doing that. And we'll have a roll call of the members present. City Clerk?
Cumby.
Here.
Gabriel.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Schuster.
Here.
Stalder.
Here.
Somerville.
Here.
Pierce.
Here.
Weaver.
Here.
That's 9 present and 0 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. So all members are present. And we will now move to the next item, which will be public comment and non-agenda items. Looking for public comment on non-agenda items. City Clerk, I do note that we have one phone call or call-in listener. And we should say that if they would like to indicate that they wanted to speak either now or at any other point during public comment at the meeting, I think it's *6 to indicate that you'd like to do that. Am I right with that? *6, City Clerk?
*6 will unmute a phone participant. *9 will raise their hand.
Thank you, City Clerk. *9 to indicate that you'd like to make comment, and *6 to unmute so that we can hear you. Okay, not seeing anyone raise a hand or let us know that they want to make a non-agenda item based comment. So we will move to the next item, which is going to be an item for the Vice Mayor, consideration of changes to the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the following changes to the agenda be approved. We are going to remove from the consent agenda item 9, N as in Nancy, lowercase a, and we are going to move item 9H from the consent agenda to the regular agenda as item 10A.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Vice Mayor?
Let's see. I move that the agenda be set as changed.
Second.
Second.
Motion is second from Councilmember Schuster, I think. And I'm sorry, I don't believe I indicated the second on the last motion. Who was the second on the last motion? The previous motion. Councilmember Somerville, thank you so much. All right. All those in favor, same sign as last time. Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. We now have a proclamation as the next item on our agenda. And this proclamation is for WYO Gives. I'll read the proclamation. Whereas WYO Gives was established in July 2020, and whereas WYO Gives is an initiative of the Wyoming Nonprofit Network to bring the state together as one community to raise money and awareness for Wyoming nonprofits, and whereas WYO Gives is a day where Wyoming nonprofits work together to share commitments, build a stronger community, and think about other people, and whereas it is fitting and proper on WYO Gives Day, July 14th, 2021, and on every day to recognize the tremendous impact of philanthropy, volunteerism, and community service in the city of Laramie and Albany County, And whereas WYO Gives is an opportunity to encourage citizens to serve others and support nonprofits on July 14th and during other times of the year. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Paul Weaver, acting as mayor and president of the governing body of the city of Laramie, Wyoming, do hereby proclaim July 14th, 2021 as WYO Gives Day in the city of Laramie, and encourage all citizens to join together to give back to the community by visiting wyogives.org. That's wyogives.org, and selecting a participating nonprofit to support. And I will hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Laramie to be affixed on this 6th day of July 2021. I know we have some folks from some different nonprofits here, and I just want to briefly say that the city council has the opportunity to hear from nonprofits throughout the year, but most specifically during that time of year when the city council considers its community partners funding decisions. When we make decisions about allocations, it'll be made out of what the city budget can afford to the various nonprofits that are operating in the city of Laramie and Albany County. And we are able to have those folks come in and talk to us with a little bit more detail about their agencies and what they do. There's a lot of very important and effective nonprofits in our community, and I would encourage you, if you want to learn more about them, to look at the meetings from the minutes, that is, of the March 9th, 2021 City Council meeting. We have that meeting in conjunction with the Board of County Commissioners because, of course, the Albany County Commissioners follow a similar process in identifying ways and amounts through which they can support our nonprofits in the community. And we really appreciate the work that they do. And we're fortunate to have all of those groups that we do. And we're always, I think, wishing that we had more support to provide, but financial realities are what they are. However, opportunities like WYO Gives are another chance for individual community members to show up and step up and vote with their dollars about which nonprofits they think are some of the best. But I know we have some people here that can speak to that in much better detail and with more hands-on experience than I can. I see that we've got a couple of folks here, and we are really glad they were able to be here with us. And just if you could let me know, if you haven't already, that you'd like to speak, we'll recognize you and give you a chance to say whatever it is that you want to say. And I know we do have at least one speaker that we've allowed into our panelist group here, which is Ms. Brecken. So I'll turn it over to you and just say thanks again for being here. And if you'd like to say a few words, please do.
All right. Thank you, Mayor and council members, for proclaiming July 14th as WYO Give Day. Over 31 nonprofit agencies in Albany County are participating this year. We've all collaborated together to share information about all of our agencies because we believe it's all intersectionality within the nonprofit and the great community that we work in. We will also be at Gem City Nights on this coming Thursday, which is the celebration at the Civic Center and the Griffin Theater, and then they'll have food trucks in between Garfield on 7th and 8th, and United Way will have a table there, as well as all the other participating agencies from WYO Give will have information there, and some of them will have their own tables and whatnot there. And like I said, we really are working together this year, sharing each other's stories because we are all connected. I'm representing Home on the Range and the Wyoming Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And you may not think those intersect, but they do, as well as, for instance, United Way and Salvation Army and the Barker Foundation, Foster Closet. They all interact with each other. So we're very proud and pleased that we have the support of the council and the community, so everyone can come out and see all the great things that all the nonprofits do here and how important they are to the community, and in turn how important the community is to us. So many thanks to everyone in the community for supporting all of the nonprofits. So July 14th from 12 in the morning till 11:59, go to wildgives.org, or also you can stop by Interfaith of Laramie. They are hosting a day where all the nonprofits will be there. So if you don't feel comfortable donating online, you can come to Interfaith of Laramie and all the nonprofits will be there, and you can do offline donations for your favorite nonprofit. Thanks for your time.
Well, thank you very much, and very well said about the way that so many of these agencies do overlap. I believe that absolutely. I've seen some of that myself as a member of this community, and heard about it like the rest of us have as a member of the council. And we want to thank everybody that does all of the work, a great deal of which is volunteer, if not 90% of it, for the 31 nonprofits that you mentioned. And it just makes our City of Laramie a better, stronger community because of it. So we really, really thank you. Pam, I don't know if you wanted to say something about, you were thinking maybe later on in the summer, there might be an opportunity for folks, maybe the summer or early fall, to go out if they wanted to visit at least your nonprofit.
Yes, so big news for Home on the Range. We did gather enough money from all the lovely people in the community, and we did get a community center. So it was delivered last Tuesday, and it is a modular home where the caretaker will be able to live after losing her home and dogs about a year ago. So we are plugging along with that, and we will have an open house in mid-August once we get all the stairs built and deck and all of that, and we will invite the community to come out and celebrate our new location, do some donkey love, and we're also going to have goat bingo. So you buy a square in the lot and see what falls out from there. So keep your eyes out on Facebook and in the Boomerang. And I know the Boomerang tomorrow is going to be doing a story on all the nonprofits for WYO Gives. But we will be having that open house in later August for all the community to come and see how we've literally risen from the ashes and see all the animals and play a little goat bingo.
I appreciate that. And I wanted to give you a chance to give a little bit more of a plug for Home on the Range there, because you guys have really shown some grit and resilience over the last couple of years. You've had a few disasters take place, and people have stepped up, including yourself, to make sure that it was a nonprofit that survived and kept going and kept doing what it does, which is important. So, well,
thank you for that, and thank you for the grant that the City Council gave us as well. That helps a lot.
Yeah, when we thank the taxpayers for their support of that community partner agency program. Thank you for being here and for telling us all about it. And have a good rest of your evening. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Council.
Council members, we don't have any public hearings on the agenda this evening, so that'll take us to announcements as the next item on the agenda. Do we have any announcements?
Mayor, we do have two announcements from the Assistant City Manager's Office.
Fantastic.
Mayor and Council, it's good to be here this evening. I actually thought of a third announcement that I'm going to make in conjunction with those, but the Laramie Municipal Band is making its return to the Edgar J. Lewis Band Shell. They'll be making that return on July 7th, which is tomorrow night, July 14th, and July 28th. So those shows start about 6:30, if I remember correctly, and we'd encourage people to come out and catch some good shows. The mosquito numbers are down, so it's a good time to go out and visit the band shell. Recreation memberships at the rec center are now available online, which is new for the recreation division. So make sure if you want to check that out, go to the Google Laramie Recreation Center and go to that page. Staff's really excited about the amount of work they did to get that going. And then today, park staff and myself installed Hollyhock Commons. We got everything done except for the flowers. So Hollyhock Commons is well behind schedule, but it's back in place and will be there through September 25th, I believe. I'd be happy to answer any questions on those.
Questions for Assistant City Manager about any of those updates? Well, we just want to thank the Parks Department for that vigilance on the mosquito situation. I've noticed it. It's been a little better, so we thank you very much. Despite the fact that we've had rain just about every day for the last week, which is also okay. We kind of needed it. All right, I don't see any other comments from the council on the announcements, so I'll take us to the next item, which is a monthly staff recognition. I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I did see Councilor Cumby had her hand up.
Oh, Councilor Cumby, I'm sorry. It's hard for me to keep track of everybody on the screen. I apologize. Council Member Cumby. Council Member Cumby, we're both dealing with challenges. If you could please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to say that the Disabilities Board did participate in Pride Fest. I want to thank Councilor O'Doherty for volunteering to help. They really appreciated our participation, and we had a number of people participate, especially children. And I especially wanted to thank the city staff and Todd Freezer, who was on vacation, yet continued to email and to help rally support for us, and that the city staff made all the difference in the world in this happening. And it was just amazing, the support we received from them, and I want to thank them very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely, and thank you for making that comment as well. We do like to take the time to thank the city employees. We appreciate it. Thank you, Council Member. City Manager, back to you.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Council, it's my honor tonight to tell you about our rock star, or our Employee of the Month from June. We delayed this recognition hoping that Sergeant Paul Wick from the Laramie Police Department would be able to join us tonight, but I'm sad to tell you, unfortunately, he could not. So his ears will be burning as we talk about the great work he's been doing for the city. Sergeant Wick has been with the city now for 21 years in the police department. He's definitely a seasoned veteran. Current position that he's serving in is as our training sergeant. And so what I can tell you about his work is it's integral to helping the city to recruit the best and brightest to our Laramie Police Department, which we know is a very important role and a very strong focus for the city of Laramie under Chief Stalder. Sergeant Wick was nominated actually by our Human Resources Director, Lori Curry, because in his position as our training sergeant, he's been working very closely with Human Resources, as you can imagine, over the last year. I wanted to tell you a little bit about his background because I think he's very uniquely positioned for his current role with the LPD. Sergeant Wick actually has a bachelor's degree in education and was an educator in northeastern Montana for a few years, teaching U.S. history and government. So what a great find for the city for us when he decided to change his career path and actually join law enforcement couple decades ago. In this new role, so he's working to recruit and find the best people. It's made him working more strongly with our human resources and also our IT department so that we can reach out and recruit talent through social media and other means that are maybe somewhat atypical or new on the scene in the law enforcement realm and frankly in the government realm more broadly. What Paul does in his free time is apparently a lot of hunting. He says he doesn't have too many hobbies other than the outdoors, and quote says he couldn't carry a tune in a bucket. So outdoors is where he likes to spend his time. He and his wife have been 34 years now together with 2 children, and he was actually born and raised in Elk Mountain, very near to Laramie. So we're really pleased to have him on the force, recognize his contribution to the city and the excellence of that contribution, and he was our June Employee of the Month. As I said, unfortunately he's not with us, but if you see him, please feel free to pass along your goodwill and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. And it's always really interesting to hear about all the unique people that work for the City of Laramie. Certainly Sergeant Wick is in that category. It's nice to learn a little bit about some of these folks. I've met him a time or two. I don't know if you'd know who I was, but he's a good guy. All right. Well,
Mayor, I believe Councilor O'Doherty had her hand up earlier.
thank you, Councilmember Gabriel, and all you council members that are helping me out with these things. I appreciate that. Go
I
ahead.
was just clapping. I didn't have my hand up. Sorry. I was just clapping for Sergeant Wick, who isn't here.
That's all right. And what else is all right, and in fact very helpful, is for you council members to point those things out to me when you think you see a hand up. So even if we don't get it quite right, it's all right. So thank you, Councilmember Gabriel. And yep, Sergeant Wick's a good guy. It's nice to hear about him and recognize it's one of our city employees. So let's move to, after that, let's move to item number 7 on our agenda, which is disclosures by city council members about any items that may come forward on our agenda this evening. And I don't see any hands up. So we will go to the next agenda item, which is item number 8. And I'm going to turn it over to the Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second.
Second.
Wow. Not City Clerk, I'm not certain who provided the first second. Do you have any guesses?
I think I heard Councillor Schuster the loudest.
Councilor Schuster as the second. Thank you so much. Council members, if you'll allow it, I'd just like to make a quick comment because I think it's appropriate to thank those members of the Laramie community that are willing to volunteer their time and effort for our boards and commissions. They deserve our thanks and recognition, and we don't often have as many opportunities to give that thanks as we might like. So we do appreciate those of you that volunteer for the city boards and commissions, the joint boards and commissions that we have with the city and the county together. We do appreciate it, and we know that it is a time commitment, and we thank you. Let's have a roll call on the consent agenda, City Clerk.
Cumby,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Stalder,
Yes.
Somerville,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes,
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
and that motion carries. Thank you, Vice Mayor and Council members and City Clerk. Let's now move to the regular agenda. Top of the regular agenda is the long-awaited item number 11, which I would like to recognize. City Clerk.
Mr. Mayor, we moved item 9H to 10A, Resolution 2021-49.
Of course we did, City Clerk. Thank you very much. Who was assigned item 10A?
I am.
All right, Councilmember O'Doherty.
I move to approve Resolution 2021-49, authorizing the submission of a Transportation Alternatives Program, TAP, grant application to the Wyoming Department of Transportation in an amount not to exceed $500,000 to support the construction of Spring Creek Trail Phase 1 and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Second by the Vice Mayor. Discussion, background, Mr. Feaser.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, it's a pleasure to be back in front of you again on this. Some of you may remember maybe 2 years ago, possibly 3 years ago, we approved an application to TAP grant projects to fund the design and engineering of this project. We got that completed, and we missed a cycle last year due to some extra strain that staff was under, and we were unable to get an application in. But we're able to submit an application this year to help construct this, what I consider the springboard for the Spring Creek Trail, which would get us from 30th Street to LaPrelle Park, following the creek, basically. It includes improvements to the crossing at 30th Street that are rapid flashing beacons to help with the safety there. It also includes an improved crossing at Whiting High School to make sure that there's a safe crossing on Spring Creek Road up in that area, and also includes the development of a new parking lot in the old Greenway stump area near LaPrelle Park, near Sisters Bridge, which was Tanner Hyde's project not too long ago that some of you are very familiar with. Our construction estimate for this project was $975,791 in 2020. We are planning to apply for a full $1 million, which is a 50-50 match. So there would be $500,000 in specific purpose tax ballot funding that would be approved, plus the $500,000 grant application. With that being said, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Fieser. Do we have any questions? Councilmember O'Doherty, did you want to say anything in addition? I think it was probably a noteworthy item, and I'm glad we moved it to the regular agenda for just a little bit of discussion. Any questions for Assistant City Manager Fieser?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Not seeing any others. And Assistant City Manager, I'm glad you pointed out some of the other work that's gone in to some of these projects and some of the previous work like that done by the Boy Scout member that you mentioned. Okay. Now, let's now see if there's any public comment about this item. Does not appear to be the case. City Clerk, can we have a roll call vote?
Humby,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Stalder,
Yes.
Somerville,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
That motion carries. Thank you, City Clerk. All right, I believe it was delayed for the very last time just now. Item number 11, Councilmember Schuster.
Thank you very much. The title is New Special Malt Beverage Permit, number Special 6 to the Cowboy State Brewing LLC, location at the University of Wyoming War Memorial Stadium, excluding the Wildcatter. I move that the City Council approve the application for the Special Malt Beverage Permit, number Special 6 to the Cowboy State Brewing LLC, DBA Cowboy State Brewing, location of the permit at the University of Wyoming War Memorial Stadium, excluding the Wildcatter, Laramie, Wyoming, for the licensing term May 19th, 2021 through May 7th, 2022, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I think that was Councilmember Cumby. City Clerk, I see that you've raised your hand.
I see Councilor Schuster raising his hand as well. I was just going to ask him if we could amend the motion for the term to begin July 7th, starting tomorrow.
Okay.
Given that today is now July 6th and contingent upon the finishing of the contract.
Yes, I'd like to amend it that it starts now July 7th, tomorrow, and amend it that the state approve all contracts put forth. If my second will concur.
I concur.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Schuster, I think you're seeking recognition before the correction from the City Clerk. So over to you.
I didn't need anything. I just knew the city clerk wanted me to amend it. I read it verbatim, and I knew she would want it amended on the state approving all additional comments coming in. So that was my only concern.
No problem. Thank you very much. City Clerk, would you like to provide any other additional comments or background for this before we go to the vote?
Mayor, just a brief, since it's been on the agenda for a little while, as we've postponed it. This is a special malt beverage permit to allow sales and service of beer and malt beverages within the stadium, excluding the Wildcatter, for Cowboy State Brewing. They have done this for the past, I believe it's 2 years, in place of doing individual permits. It's a little bit easier process for staff, both city staff and Roxy Hensley's staff. So with that, if the council has any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Other questions? Any questions? All right, let's see if they have... Let's see if we have any public comment.
Hello?
Oh, Vice Mayor. Council members, are we missing the Vice Mayor?
She froze on my screen. I don't.
Frozen here too, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, she's not active on my screen either. I don't think that she had raised her hand for questions, though. She may need to rejoin us. So I think I'm going to still move to public comment on this item, if there is any. Does not appear to be. Council members, last chance for any questions or comments on this item. City Clerk, can we have a vote?
Cumbie,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Stelter,
Yes.
Somerville,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Pierce, absent, Weaver.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
That motion carries. Thank you, City Clerk. We'll now move to the next item on the agenda, which is item number 12. I'm going to recognize Councilmember Harrington.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council accepts the letter of resignation from City Council Member Jessica Stalder, declare a vacancy will exist on the Laramie City Council as of July 6th, 2021, and authorize public notice to be given of the vacancy.
Second.
Motion and a second from Councilmember Gabriel. Councilmember Stalder, welcome, and I'm glad you're able to join us this evening. I'd like to turn it over to you for anything that you might like to say.
Thank you for giving me a minute to talk about it. This was not an easy decision. I know the pandemic is maybe not on the front of everyone's mind as much as it has been, but it's a tough time to be in healthcare. Usually I'm doing Zooming city council meetings while I'm at work. Healthcare workers are pretty burned out and short-staffed, and that's where I'm needed right now. So I'll still be serving Laramie, just in a different capacity. And I wanted to say a couple of thank yous. One to my Ward 1 constituents, just thank you for giving me this opportunity. I've had the chance to meet some really, really incredible people and get some different perspectives and points of view. And to my fellow council members and the staff, this is a very tough job, and I've appreciated working with all of you. Thank you. That's all. That's my whole speech.
Thank you, Councilmember Stalder. And I think there are probably a few comments that are going to be made, but I'm going to recognize Councilmember Gabriel, who is seeking recognition.
Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Gabriel.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Councilor Stalder, thank you for your service. You brought a unique perspective to many items, and I really appreciated that. And I know that you had a tough schedule and you put in a lot of difficult hours on City Council. And in your resignation letter, it's pointed out as such, and I certainly understand that. But just from my perspective, thank you for your service and the best of luck.
Thank you, Councilmember Gabriel. Vice Mayor, thank you for rejoining us. We just made the assumption you're having a little bit of internet trouble. We all have been. Council Member Stalder, let me just echo the thanks to you for your willingness to run for office and then serve as a member of the City Council. It doesn't take very long in the position to realize that it's a unique position that has its own challenges and responsibilities, as I'm sure does the care provided by the folks at the hospice. And I think it's incredibly valuable work, and I appreciate you providing that context, because I think it helps people understand that although we don't like this reality, sometimes we have to make choices about priorities, and those are never easy. So we appreciate the difficulty of the situation, and also the time you took in making it, and the way that you've conducted yourself with the decision that you've made. So we appreciate it, and we thank you for your service. I know your constituents certainly would feel the same. Other council members? Councilmember O'Doherty.
I just want to thank Councilor Stalder. I understand it's a really tough decision, and I know that that you really have served Laramie, and I appreciate your service. Thank you.
Councilmember Cumby.
Councilor Stalder, I'm a nurse, and I just want to say I understand. And hospice has gone through some really difficult times in the past year, and I think your leadership is exactly what it needs in order to thrive, and it is a very valuable resource to our community. So I thank you for your service, and I've enjoyed working with you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Cumby. Councilmember Stalder, one of the small traditions that the City of Laramie City Council adheres to is to provide recognition to members for their service through a small token. It's typically a plaque of thanks that lists their years of service. And I understand that the city manager has had that ordered for you so that we can continue on with that small tradition. I don't believe we have it available for you this evening, but it will be available soon, and you can pick that up I would guess, from the city clerk's office at your convenience. City manager, was there anything else with regard to those small thank yous that I haven't thought of or that I've missed?
Mayor, I don't believe so, but I would say, Councilor Stalder, on behalf of all of the staff, we really appreciate your service, and it has been a challenging year, in particular because of your choice to be a care provider, and so we appreciate you on so many levels, and we'll be sad to see you go. We'll get you your plaque.
Councilmember Stalder, even a really tough, capable person can only do so many tough jobs at the same time. So we thank you very much, and we appreciate everything that you've done for the city of Laramie.
Thank you so much. And
following our protocol, members of the council, we will see if there's public comment on this item. I see none. I do see a hand. City Clerk, I'm going to recognize Judy Snoke for public comment.
I just am disappointed, but I most assuredly understand, and I appreciate what you have been doing, and I understand fully about being divided in multiple ways. You've done an excellent job of carrying the banners. So I'm personally, as your former 5th grade teacher, disappointed that you had to make this choice, but it's been great to have you on the council. So take care of yourself. Likewise.
Thank you so much. Every time I see you at city council meetings, I still don't think I could ever call you Judy. You will always be Mrs. Snoke. And it's been a pleasure interacting with you this way. Thank you.
It's amazing how that happens.
Mrs. Snoke, we are thankful and lucky to have citizens like you that are willing to come to our meetings and make comments. We count on you to do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Council members, I will give it just a moment, but I don't see any other further comment. And I reluctantly now will need to call for a vote for just a small point of clarification. I don't believe it was worded this way in the motion, but just for clarification, in accepting the resignation, my understanding of our city code is that in doing so, we also simultaneously recognize the vacancy. Just a small point. All right. City Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Humby,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Schuster,
No.
Stolder,
Yes.
Somerville,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver,
Yes. Okay. I believe the vote was 8 yeses and 1 no. And Councilor Stalder, we wish you all the best. Stay in touch.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Do you need a minute, or shall we go? No, okay. Not a happy occasion, and one that the city councils and city councils everywhere have to occasionally deal with. Council members, we're going to go to the next item, which is item number 13. I'm going to recognize Councilmember Somerville.
Mr. Mayor, I believe Councilmember Schuster had his hand up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ask him real quick.
Just want to
Council-
make sure it was stated that we have to replace her from the ward she came from. Because if we don't, I'm afraid we might get a tremendous amount of applications in.
That is correct, Councilor Schuster. I suppose it's probably incumbent on us to make a couple of public announcement-oriented comments, which we really didn't do during our discussion because we wanted to talk to Councilor Stalder, which I think was also appropriate. That vacancy, it does now exist with the City Council, and there will be further information, announcements and information for those members of the Laramie community that are registered voters in the city of Laramie that live within City Council Ward 1, and they will be able to go to the city website, and there will, the other information will be advertised there and in the newspaper and in social media, I believe, for anyone that may wish to consider putting their name forward to fill that vacancy. Did I miss anything? City Clerk.
Mayor, just to give those exact dates, the filing period does open tomorrow and runs through July 21st. When applicants complete that application, if they could bring it down to City Hall and let the city clerk's office know that you're here, we'll meet you out in the lobby and accept that application from you. Please bring a copy of your photo ID with you so we can verify that you are the applicant on the application. As you stated, Mayor, they do need to live within Ward 1 for no less than 1 year prior to the election to represent the ward, which election in this case is their application to council. And the person completing the application does need to be a registered voter and a resident of the city of Laramie.
Thank you, City Clerk. And thank you also, Councilmember Schuster. Those things needed to be pointed out. Councilmember Cumby, I see your hand.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm wondering, City Clerk, what is the application process if somebody wishes to submit their name? Do they go online? Is there guidance about how to do that? I'm just wondering what that would be so that we can inform others. Thank you.
Sure. Similar to what all other counselors do when they apply for city council, if you complete the city council application, that does have to be completed and turned into the city clerk with a $25 filing fee. And then at that time, this process is slightly different than normal because we're not in an election period right now. So the city council will then hold interviews for selected applicants. That will happen around July 27th and July 28th. And then on August 3rd, an appointment will be made by city council, assuming that they've received a qualified applicant. So did that answer?
Thank
Go
you,
ahead,
City
Councilor
Clerk. And I'm just curious if with that application, should the applicant submit anything else, a resume, a vita, or just the application?
Oh, that's a great question. Because this is a slightly different process than normal. Normally, we don't accept anything in addition to that. I think during the council interviews is when the council would, Councilor Somerville could correct me. She's raising her hand. She's been through this process before.
Mr. Mayor, if I can, so when I was appointed way back when, I was asked to submit a resume with that application. And if memory serves me correctly, we did that back in the last one that I was a part of as well. If they wanted to turn in a resume, they certainly could.
Thank you, Councilmember Somerville. City Manager, I saw you turn on the camera. Did you have something you wanted to add to this part of the discussion? Okay. Council members, members of the public, folks that may be interested in this, for the sake of having the accurate information there, I think what you've heard is the council would encourage a letter of interest in a resume or a CV along with the materials outlined by the city clerk for consideration of possible appointment to the city council. If there isn't any objection to that, we'll simply make that a matter of course for the process. Does that seem reasonable to everyone? All right. Anything else to add to this non-agenda item that is nevertheless an important discussion? Okay. Thank you, City Clerk and council members for bringing these things up and having them outlined now. Seeing no other discussion on this topic, we'll move to item number 13. I'd like to recognize Councilmember Somerville.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I am going to move item A. So I would move to approve the professional services agreement for facilitation and mediation services to Blankley/Vertruba and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion and a second by Councilmember Harrington. We have a space on our agenda for these items where we usually have some background provided. I will provide some of that background for you, Council, here if you'd like, which is that the Council determined a month or so ago that this process was one that we wanted to extend so that we would be able to have a pool of interested parties for the committee to review. The request for a proposal committee consisted of myself, the city manager, assistant city chief, city police chief Terry, and Chief Operations Officer Brown for the initial review. After the extension, the committee remained the same with the exception of the city attorney, Mr. Southard, joining our review committee, and Chief Operations Officer Brown not participating in that round of discussion. We had 4 proposals that were submitted for consideration. Those were given a very thorough discussion and period of review. The committee met. We used a very standardized system for ranking and scoring, at least as standardized as we could for a facilitator for this unique process. And the city manager was helpful in both previewing that and then scoring and ranking the proposals that we received through that. We had a discussion and calculated those scores and brought forward the 2 highest scoring proposals for your consideration. I hope that that's an adequate explanation, but certainly if there's further questions or discussion, now is the time. City Manager, I don't know that it's necessary, but I'd like to give you an opportunity to add anything additional to that discussion. Certainly, you have more experience with the City of Laramie's RFP and proposal process than council members do. If there's anything you'd like to highlight or outline about that process end of it, feel free.
Mayor, I think you did a great job. I would note that we do have the top 2 proposers with us this evening in the event that you would have questions. I have provided to them an update as to the process and the notion that the council will make a selection tonight and that we would expect them to kind of hit the ground running this week so that we're ready for meetings of the working group in about 2.5 weeks from today.
Thank you, City Manager. City Council. Let's see if there's any public comment. Seeing none. City Clerk, will you call the roll on the motion?
Somerville,
Yes.
Stalder, absent. Schuster,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Gabriel,
No.
Cumby,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
That's 7 yeses, 1 no, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion carries. Now moving to item number 14. To call on Councilmember Cumby.
Yes. I move to award the bid for the Gerald Place Priority Sewer Rehab and Water Replacement Project to Big Hunks Excavation Incorporated, Laramie, Wyoming, in the amount of $239,900.90, along with contingency of $23,900 for a total amount not to exceed $263,800.90, and authorize the mayor and the city clerk to sign.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second from the Vice Mayor. I see Mr. Webb is here to provide background for us. Go ahead.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor, City Council, this project is basically to replace the sanitary sewer in Gerald Street. It was originally planned and budgeted for summer 2022. Earlier this year, you amended the budget so that we could kind of expedite the process. Our utility crews found some collapsed pipe in the street. And so we've completed the design and went out to bid. When we did the design, we included the water line. The water line in the street is very old. We've had four water line breaks, so we felt it was prudent to bid the water line as well while we're digging the street up. And so we went out to bid. We got two bids in from Big Hunks and 6 Point Solution, and we're recommending the low bidder, Big Hunks Excavation, for the project.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Appreciate that. Any questions about the item? Councilmember O'Doherty?
So one thing, this is a really short, it is like probably short place is probably the other shortest street, a neighboring street. So I worry about that one coming up. But the collapse of a pipe, does that mean that you wouldn't, so things like lining pipes with the liner, I can't remember what it's called. This is way beyond that point because once it collapses, there's nothing to attach to, right?
Yeah, Councilor Doherty, through you, Mayor, the collapse sections, the utility division performs spot repairs in those areas, but you know the remainder of the pipe on that street could collapse again at any time. So, yeah, it's definitely beyond lining. I mean, it's literally failing. You know, when we have a collapse, we'll go in and do a spot repair in that section. And then when we have the opportunity, do a full replacement of that block section.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember O'Doherty. Other council members, questions for Mr. Webb on this particular project? Mr. Webb, I just would say, I guess it's nothing about this is a good thing, but if there was one thing about it it's that we were only 1 year out further, so we were able to make an adjustment so that it could get handled fairly quickly. I'm sure it's not quick enough for the people that rely on that infrastructure, but we'll get it done. What's the timeline on a project like this, if you don't mind my asking?
We'll get this out. We'll get the bid award out as soon as we have the signed contract. We'll get this underway. It'll be completed before winter. I think this is because it's kind of a short section. I can't remember what final completion date's set at right now, but I would guess before mid-September would be completed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see if there's any council members. Let's see if there's any public comment on this item, and I'll check with you one more time before we go to the vote. I don't see any hands raised for public comment. One last shot at questions or comments on the item. City Clerk, could you call the roll?
Cumby,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Stalder, absent. Somerville,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. We'll now move on to the next item on our agenda here, which is item number 15. And I'll call on Councilmember Schuster.
Thank you. Title of this is Amendment Number 1 to the Professional Services Agreement for the Gerald Place Priority Sewer Rehab and Water Replacement Project. I move that the council to approve Amendment Number 1 to the Gerald Place Priority Sewer Rehab and Water Replacement Project Professional Services Agreement with Solterra Engineering, Inc. to conduct construction services in the amount of $29,995 for the total amendment contract of $63,965 and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion and second from Councilmember O'Doherty. Mr. Webb, thanks for being here. Over to you.
Yeah, Honorable Mayor, City Council, as is normal, this is the project we just talked about. This is to amend the design consultants contract so that they can conduct construction services and construction administration on that project.
Thank you. Straightforward. Makes sense. Any questions or comments about this one? Check and see if we have public comment on the item. Seeing none. Council, one more chance. City Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Gabriel,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Stalder, absent, Somerville,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Cumby, I'm sorry, Cumby,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion carries. Move on to item number 16. I'd like to recognize Council Member Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to award the professional services agreement for the 9th Street reconstruction Phase 2 and Cedar Street reconstruction design to Sunrise Engineering of Laramie, Wyoming, in the amount of $189,300, plus a contingency of $18,930 for a total amount not to exceed $208,230, and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion and a second from Councilmember Schuster. All right. Mr. Webb, take it away.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, these are two special purpose tax projects. We grouped these two projects together for design because they're very similar in design and construction. The first project is on 9th Street between Harney and Shields, and the second section is Cedar Street from Clark to Harney. Both sections of the roadway, as you probably know, these sections are in terrible condition and are in dire need of reconstruction. As part of the design, we'll analyze the ADA ramps, sidewalks, and curb and gutter and see what needs to be addressed in those areas for the construction. City staff solicited requests for qualifications. We received 4 submittals. After review of those submittals, we are recommending Sunrise Engineering for award of design of this project, these two projects.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Mr. Webb? Councilmember Gabriel.
Thank you, Mayor. I know, Brooks, that the city did some concrete work, sidewalk work over in the Labonte Park area on 9th Street a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago, because of the poor condition. Has that been holding up? I know the soil over there is fairly poor, but has the sidewalk reconstruction been holding up fairly well?
Yeah, Councilor Gabriel, through you, Mayor, it has. It's improved the drainage there, and the sidewalk's been good. So that section we know is good, and we won't be messing with. But we will be looking at the other sections of sidewalk and curb and gutter through that area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Gabriel. Mr. Webb, this is the busy season. It's always the busy season for you guys, but this is the busiest of the busy seasons. So it seems like we've got projects coming one right after another, and we know that you need to get them done, and you ideally need to get them done before the snow flies. So I imagine you guys have your hands full. We appreciate everything you folks are always doing for us. Other questions, and I'll come back to you one more time. Let's go and see if there's public comment on this item. Folks, I don't see any. One more chance for you guys. All right. Brooks, good to see you. Thanks for being here and letting us know what's going on. Oh, yep. Can't turn them loose yet. I got to go to item number 16, and I'll call on council. Nope, number 17, and call on, who was the chip
We
sealer?
have to vote.
We need to vote though.
I'm getting lost. Let's have a roll call vote, City Clerk.
Humby,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Schuster,
Yes.
Stalder, absent, Somerville,
Yes.
Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion carries. I apologize, council members. It's hard to know what you're doing when you're me. Let's go to item number 17, which is Vice Mayor Pierce.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to award the bid for the 2021 chip seal project to Simon Contractors, Laramie, Wyoming, in the amount of $441,313.25, along with contingency of $10,000 for a total amount not to exceed $451,313.25, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second.
Motion and a second from Councilmember Somerville. All right, Mr. Webb.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, this one's pretty straightforward. Chip seal project. We've got multiple sections of roadways throughout the city that the street division manager has identified as good candidates for chip seal. There's sections of Pierce Street, Buford Street, Beach Street, Boulder Drive, Dillon Street, Nather Street, Nighthawk Drive, Plain Street, Alta Vista Drive, and Colorado Avenue. The street manager basically keeps a list of streets that are good for chip seal. We bid those out. Actually, with the full list, we came in over budget a little bit, so we negotiated with the low bidder and actually ended up cutting out a couple streets. But what you see there on your cover sheet will be completed. After we reviewed the bids, Simon was the low bidder, and we're recommending them for the work.
All right, council members, you have questions or follow-up for Brooks? All right, let's see if we have any public comment on the item. We do not. A lot of projects. All right, well, I'm sorry for trying to get you out of here early, but I think we're done now. Mr. Webbs, thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time. Let's have a roll call vote.
Schuster,
I'm sorry, yes, I turned off the mic.
Harrington,
Yes.
Gabriel,
Yes.
Humby,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Somerville,
Yes.
Stalder, absent, Pierce,
Yes.
Weaver.
Yes,
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
thank you. That motion carries. All right, we have item number 18, public comments on non-agenda items. Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 19, future council work session topics. Councilmember Schuster.
Thank you. It's not really a work session topic, but when we took the Clark Street Bridge down, and that's a really nice wide street, we said that we would get it striped in the middle with 45-degree angle parking. We have Jubilee Days coming up this week again, which I know a lot of people would love to have that open because people are walking 10 blocks to get downtown, and that street has terrible parking. So I want to bring it up again. Can we get Clark Street between 3rd and I'm going to call it 1st? Can we get it striped some year?
I think it's a fair question, Councilmember Schuster. City Manager, do you have any news for us on the Clark Street topic?
Mayor, thanks for asking, and Councilmember Schuster, you're absolutely correct. So I know that the engineering and street divisions were taking a look at this. If Brooks wants to add anything, he maybe could. Last I knew, it was under review. I don't know if it's held up for a technical reason or perhaps because of the intersection with the state highway, but I can make inquiries and I can get you better information in the next day or two.
Thank you.
Can I add a small follow-up question to that in the same vein? Would it be feasible for us to look, even before the rest of that process takes place, at a temporary parking arrangement for that area over Jubilee Days?
I would think we can take a look at that. It is very, we have our city engineer. Hi, Eric.
We'll go over to the city engineer, the city manager. I want to make sure you got a chance to finish I didn't want you to be cut off.
No, that's okay.
All right. Hey, thanks for being here, Mr. Japp. Go ahead and let us know whatever you can about that.
Okay. So what's going on with that one is that there's been a little bit of delay in our office with trying to figure that out. We've been working with Assistant City Manager Todd Fieser trying to come up with solutions out there. That parking's a little bit more difficult than just throwing some striping down the middle of the street of trying to maximize the parking out there. So we've been kind of trying to work with some solutions out there to try to maximize and what's best for that area. So we should have some answers here fairly soon coming up on that. It would be pretty difficult as far as a temporary solution to go out there and put some paint down right now out in that area. So I'd be a little concerned of, putting temporary down just to have something down this week out there, of just trying to get something, and also timing and everything else, because the striping that's going to go on out there will be pretty extensive and signs and everything else. So just a temporary would be difficult, but we are working at a solution and hopefully should have something here future, but it's just been a little bit more complicated than we were originally anticipating.
All right. I don't know that I was thinking about striping, but I assume the same answer would apply to any other arrangements that we might make on a temporary basis. So we'll look forward to hearing about the future of that project. Future work session topics, council. Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Japp, for being here and letting us know. Future council work session topics. There's a few things on there, so it's not as though it's going begging. Okay. Appreciate that. That takes us to, I suppose, any other suggestions or comments here? Okay. That takes us then to item number 20, which is Councilor Schuster.
Thank you very much. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All right. There's been a motion and a second by the Vice Mayor. It's kind of an enthusiastic motion and a second. If you'd all like to just raise your hand or say aye.
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 We are adjourned. Thank you very much. Thank you, folks. Have a good rest of your night. Hey, City Clerk.